Hi guys. Happy 4th of July, July 4th, Independence Day. Happy birthday to America. So obviously that's what I'm going to talk about today because today is a huge day and a lot of people, are patriots in this country and they understand the importance of Independence Day, July 4th, all of that kind of stuff, the birth of America, and what took place hundreds of years ago to ensure our freedom as a country. So let's kind of talk about, first of all, for everybody who, kind of forgot, you learn about it in history class, but then you get on with your life and you're celebrating it because it's an important day. But let's get to the root of why all of this even occurred in the first place. So obviously there was issues with Britain. We used to be ruled by Britain, and I believe it was King George III who was in rule at the time when all of this happened. So because of the Revolutionary War that occurred, and it broke out in April of 1777, many individuals in the original 13 colonies did not want independence, and those that did want independence were considered radicals. However, as the war continued on, many more colonists began to realize the tyranny of the British government and wanted to break away from that. So they did band together and they, started to say that they did not want to be a part of the British rule anymore, and they wanted their own independence from Britain. So on July 2nd, 1776, the Continental Congress voted to claim the original 13 colonies independent from Britain. Now, it actually went a little bit before that point in time. So on June 7th, 1776, Richard Henry Lee brought forth the argument for independence, which led to a heated debate between everybody in the Continental Congress. And it continued on for a short period of time before they ended up deciding that they wanted to make a committee of 5 men who could write up a claim as to why they wanted independence from the British government. That committee included Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Roger Sherman, Benjamin Franklin, and Robert R. Livingston. So the last individual, Robert R. Livingston, is actually from New York. Well, he was from New York. And he is the reason why the county that we live in here is named Livingston County. This is where he is from, is this area. So that's pretty cool, knowing that he had a huge part in this, except, not by his choice. And I'll get to that in just a minute. Which kind of explains why New York is in the state that it's in, because apparently it's been this way for a long time. Interesting fact also, John Adams thought that July 2nd was the actual Independence Day, and he refused to attend any July 4th invitations that he received once Independence Day was actually declared and the Declaration of Independence was written up and addressed to the colonies and the colonists. He wouldn't go to them. He was in protest. He said, no, it's July 2nd. It's not July 4th. I'm not going to that. Also, another interesting fact, kind of find it a little bit funny, Adams and Jefferson both died on July 4th in 1826. So that was the 50-year anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and America's birth, essentially. So I thought that was kind of interesting, considering they're ones that had big key players that had to do with the entire independence of our nation. So just a little bit of information, interesting information. So the 2nd, actually, and this is why Adams was a little confused, the 2nd of July, 1777, was the date it was voted on. Okay, it didn't actually become an independent nation until the 4th, so 2 days later, but it was voted on the 2nd. The only person who objected to it out of that 5-men committee was Mr. Livingston from New York. So I guess we can tie a majority of our issues and debates and things like that back all the way back to 1777. As anybody knows, New York is not the easiest place to live in. We are taxed beyond anything. It's crazy here. So it's kind of like its own world, essentially. So Adams wrote a letter claiming this day should be celebrated with pomp and parade, games, sports, guns, bells, bonfires, and illuminations, which is where the fireworks thing came from. They wanted to make sure that we were celebrating the birth of the nation, and that's, how the entire fireworks on the 4th of July thing came around. The Declaration, obviously, of Independence was adopted on July 4th, 1777. And Philadelphia held the first celebration of this with parades and the actual speaking of the entire Declaration of Independence to the colonists at that time. A few years later, a year later, in 1778, George Washington actually issued double rations of rum to all of his soldiers to mark the first anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. And in 1781, Yorktown, Massachusetts made the 4th of July an official holiday. Now, it did not become a federal holiday until 1870. So let's talk about the Declaration of Independence, okay? Because I think this is more important than anything else, to be honest. The Declaration, and I'm not reading it word for word. I'm going to just pick out bits and pieces from the important parts and kind of get into how I feel the nation should go and what we should do as far as the Declaration is concerned. So it states all men are created equal. They are endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. And whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute a new form of government. Sound kind of familiar? Sound like the world in which we are living in today, where the government controls every little thing that everybody does in this entire country, has surveillance on us, tells us, we can't even collect rainwater now in many states. They have absolute, complete control, and that was not the point. The point of these men was to break ourselves free from tyranny, from rulers who thought that they knew better than the people themselves. This country is we the people. We the people, not the government, the people. We're to be appointing people, or their, entire plan all along was to appoint people into office who are going to do good for this country, who are going to make it a place that people want to come, people want to live, people want to have a fulfilling life and live safely and happily without the fear of a government invading their privacy and telling them what they can and can't do and stripping them of their rights, whatever rights, we originally had. We've essentially, in little tiny ways here and there, been stripped of a majority of the rights that we have. You do the littlest thing, you go to jail. That's not the intention of the Declaration of Independence. We didn't want to be ruled that way. That's why we separated ourselves from Britain. And it's almost like we're going backwards. And I guarantee you they are turning in their graves going, what the hell is going on? Because this is not what we wanted. This is not where we wanted this country to go. And it's up to us to be able to change that. And we have that right. That's why that declaration was put into place. We, the people, have the right to stand up and say, we're not going to put up with the crap that you're shoving down our throats, because it's not correct. You're taking away our freedoms. You're taking away our rights. You're not allowing us to live fulfilled, happy lives. We're enslaved to the system. And they didn't want that. And it's even written, and it will be written forever, that we have the right to take our country back. And that's what we need to do as a nation. We need to get rid of these corrupt individuals in the government, and we need to establish a new ruling, and we need to take this country back. Otherwise, what's going to happen to us? Honestly, I don't know. I feel like we're going to live in a communist nation. That seems to be the direction that the United States is going to. I don't want to live that. I don't want my children to live that. I don't want my grandchildren to live that. And we have the ability, because we have the numbers. The government is a small amount of people based on the millions that live here. If we band together and we take the government down, we can make great things for this country. We can put the country back together and we can send it in the direction that it needs to go, where everybody is not having to worry about whether or not they're going to starve to death or be able to pay their rent, or, you know, have to worry about having a job. All sorts of different things that have been stripped away from us, and we just live in fear as a nation. We can do that. We just have to put aside our hate, put aside our differences, band together as a nation, and make a difference for the future. And if we can show that to other countries throughout the world, that we can show them that we, as a human race, can come together and get rid of the corruption, get rid of the tyranny, and get these people out of here that are doing nothing but making their pockets bigger and just creating evil, terrible things everywhere they go. If we can prove that to other nations, they're going to change the way that their countries are ruled as well. And it's going to make humanity and this world a better place in the future. So I want to say, again, happy 4th of July to everybody. I hope everybody has a great day with their family and their friends. It is a day of celebration, regardless of all of the things that are going on in this nation. All of the terrible, terrible things that go on every single day around the globe. So just hold your loved ones tight. You know, spend time with them. Enjoy the time with them. You know, cook out. Go to parades, watch fireworks, do that kind of stuff, because that's what it's all about. That's what they wanted. They wanted us to celebrate the fact that we are a strong nation and we can prevail no matter what. As always, guys, always remember everything does happen for a reason. Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, you're in a good situation or a bad situation, just stick with it. You're on that journey for a reason. You know, nobody's going to be able to stop you except for yourself. Also, always remember, forget about the past. There isn't anything that we can do about the past other than try to learn from it and be better people from it in the future. Again, be living, be loving, be laughing, being enjoying your life right now, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. We all could not be here tomorrow, so it's important that we're enjoying what we have right now while we're staying focused on the future. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.